Cash flow is king. This is the topic of today. I just wanted to share with you exactly what I've been doing, and that is looking at cash flow. So, we know for properties, where you're holding properties, rent's coming in, so important that the rent comes in. It's going to pay your mortgage, it's going to pay the building insurance, it's going to pay the letting agent, and you're going to have income left over when you're doing it correctly. Like I share with you guys, you've got money coming in, which is your income as well. So, really watching cash flow right now is paramount and is really key. So here's some of the things that we're doing at Premier Property. We're looking at cash flow. Now, we've got systems that are built in, and the systems don't need to be complicated. In fact, there's 5 steps that you can take right now to manage your cash flow from your current properties if you have a portfolio right now, or if you're building your portfolio. These are tips and information that you can use for your portfolio. So, one of the things that we're doing, out of the 5 steps, number 1 is to actually create a spreadsheet. Now, you can do this in your own way. If you're like me, you're quite a traditional person and you're not really used to spreadsheets, you might use pen and paper. Nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. You can, create a chart for yourself on paper, noting down all the key points that you need to have there. And, you can do that quite easily. So nothing wrong with pen and paper. Absolutely fine. You can do it that way. Now, if you want to use a spreadsheet such as Excel, that's great as well. So, we're now in the realms of all of this. So we are using spreadsheets, and Excel is a great way of noting down the information. So, if you're like me, paper-based, but you've had to adapt to using spreadsheets that are online, that are actually Excel, then brilliant. Good for you. It's a real positive move forward, and it makes your life so much easier. I tend to think about the benefits that these spreadsheets give us rather than creating the spreadsheet itself. But quite easy to do once you get into it. So that's another way that you can do it. One more way that we are doing in our systems is we're actually, rather than just using Excel, we're using Google Docs and Google Sheets. So Google Sheets, just very quickly, it's a spreadsheet just like Excel, but the positive part about this is the thing that you can take from this is that it's actually live. So you can share that sheet with other people. So maybe your partner, your bookkeeper, maybe even your letting agent potentially. So you've got a spreadsheet that is online and it's actually live. So when you make a change on that spreadsheet, it will show up straight away, and it will show up for the other people as well. So you can share these sheets as well. Very similar to Excel, and these are Google Sheets, and like I say, they are live. So, whichever way that you choose, it's about having a spreadsheet in place. And I'd urge you to do this right now if you haven't already. So that's one of the points out of the 5 I want to share with you. Now, right now, it's about, like I say, cash flow. And this is what we're discussing here. So, thinking about your rent due dates right now is so important because, with the COVID-19, some tenants are paying, some tenants aren't paying, and some tenants are actually using the excuse of COVID-19, whereas they weren't really wanting to pay anyway. So there's that type of situation. Other people are genuinely in trouble. So, we really got to, do this the right way. And, one of the things that you absolutely want in your spreadsheet is the current due date of your rent coming in. Absolutely have that there. And the thing is, we don't have the luxury of now having that flag time for waiting for rents to come in. My suggestion is that, like us, you're really proactive on this so that you are aware of your rent dates that are coming in, your due dates. So when is the rent due? So if the rent is due on the 1st, you are expecting the rent to be coming in on the 1st. So which brings me to my 3rd point. So you are aware of your rent dates, and what you want to be also doing is checking in and making sure the rent has come in on the due date. Because a day turns into a week turns into a month, and before you know it, you've got a lag in rent, which you're then chasing up, So what we want to do now, especially, in this situation with COVID-19, is really keep on top of this. So you got the spreadsheet, and the second thing that you've got is when your rents are due, and you're watching these on a daily basis, checking in when the rents are meant to be coming in. And then you are checking to make sure that the rent has actually come in. So of course, that's a quick check, isn't it, right? To your bank account, according to the due date, having a little check in to make sure the rent is there. If the rent is there, then fantastic. Now, most of our rents are being paid. I would say, just checking in this week, 80% of our rents have been paid. There have been some late payments, and people using COVID-19, whether rightly or wrongly as an excuse or a reason, there's been some delays. So 80% of our rents have been paid. 20% we are following up, like I'm showing you here right now. So making sure the rent has come in. Now, if the rent has come in, fantastic, great, excellent. Of course, then you're following on to the next month and doing the same thing. If the rent hasn't come in, it's really now the time for you to really be proactive with this. So, most of our properties are rented through letting agents, and of course you're paying the letting agent, and this is where your leverage for the letting agent comes into force, right? So your letting agent, we use services for full management. So your letting agent is responsible as your agent to make sure that they're collecting the rent. That's one of the key reasons that we use them. So you're paying them on a regular basis. They're your agent, so the conversation needs to be had. If the rent hasn't come in, then it's a quick phone call to them to say, why is the rent not coming? Rent's not coming today. Can you please find out? Can you ask the tenant to pay the rent in? The rent needs to be here. So what you're doing, in effect, is you're managing your letting agent, spending a little bit of time on it, not a lot to be fair. So it's a phone call, and it may be that your letting agents are taking emails right now. So we tend to be phoning them, and we are also backing it up with an email. And the point is, you want a quick response fast as possible, because you don't want that rent to lag. You want that rent coming into your account. So the more proactive you can be on this, the more chance you've got of your rents coming in. So this is my experience so far, is what we're finding. So that's my point 3. Now, following this, what you also want to be doing is, getting your, like I say, the agent to follow up on this. So you are being proactive with the agent. So, over the last week, we've done exactly what I shared with you. So we've phoned the letting agents, we've followed it up with an email politely. And then what we're doing is every few days, so twice a week typically, you are following up with the agent and getting an update on your rent coming in. Now, by doing this, what I found is we've actually, out of the 20% that didn't pay the rent, we got another 5% or so of those people to actually pay the rent in. It was just a little bit of an extra nudge that was required. So, that is really helping. So it's something very easy to do. These things that I'm sharing with you are, of course, simple, but they're not simplistic, because people, unfortunately, don't think like this. So I just wanted to share with you what we're doing to be proactive. The key word is proactive, a little bit of time. So we're doing that. So we're getting the agent to follow up with them. Now, where we're getting tenants, some of them where they're saying that they've heard the government, and that they want to defer their rent because the mortgages can be deferred and so on. Some of these tenants, are genuinely in situations, and other tenants are really trying it on. So, what we've got to remember is that we need to really put a process in place for the tenants to really understand what the government has really said and what is really open and available to them. So what we're saying to them, if anybody is saying about paying their rent, we are making it crystal clear to them, and we're letting them know that any deferment means that deferment still needs to be paid. So it's not that they're not going to be paying the rent will still have to be paid, and we're giving them the opportunity to pay that rent. We're also adding in a questionnaire for them. So if someone is saying to you that they can't pay the rent, well, the question is to ask them, is it coronavirus related? Because that's where the deferment comes in. So we've actually got a email template that we've created, which we send out to our tenants. And in there, this is my 5th point here I'm sharing with you. And in there, we're asking them, why is it that they haven't paid the rent? Why is there, have they had a drop in income? And we want proof of this. If there is a drop in income, we need to see either a doctor's note, we need to see a bank statement, a current bank statement, and a previous bank statement showing any falls in income. So they need to prove this. They can't just say, "Oh, sorry, you're not paying the rent," and they're just going to defer it. It doesn't work like that. You need to bring to them and show them that there's actually a process. So where's the drop in income? You want to see that through their bank statements or doctor's notes. And if they're finding that they're getting financial difficulties because of their job situation, maybe they're being laid off or they're being furloughed and so on, then you want a letter from the employer to actually show that. So you want proof of loss of income. And remember that loss of income isn't anything else. It has to be coronavirus related, so COVID-19 related. So it's not on you, it's on your tenants to actually prove that. So, we've actually drafted a template which we're sending out to these tenants. And in my experience so far, a couple of tenants who said, oh, they're not going to pay, they suddenly said, oh, we didn't realize, okay, yeah, we'll pay. So, this can be the point where, you get your income coming in, the things that we're doing right now. So we have a template like this. I suggest that you create one. Now, if you want some help with this, if you would like to use our template, I'm happy to share with you. Just comment here on the video with your name and email. And what I'll do is I'll get my team to send that over to you, okay? So that's my promise to you. If you want it, I can send that over to you, which, actually you'll be helping some letting agents with as well. So if the letting agent comes along to you and they say that they can't get the income because such and such, then you can provide this template to them to help them to pass it on to the tenant on your behalf. Or of course you can send it to your tenant directly as well. So just feel free to comment and I'll make sure I'll send that over to you, okay? So these are some of the points that I'm addressing today. And hopefully you are going to be proactive with your income coming in. So just think about these things, just to summarize, making sure you got a spreadsheet, making sure that you're checking your due dates for your rent and making sure the money has come in on that due date, following up with your letting agent, helping your letting agent to follow up by being proactive, and also if required, providing them with a template of why, asking the tenants why your rent should be deferred, what's the reason, and getting that rent in. So I will continue to share these tips with you. We have more time on our hands than usual. We are still getting sales agreed. Properties are being rented and we're still buying properties. In fact, this is such a fabulous time in the property environment. I mean, this is not going to come around for another 10 years. So, what we got right now here is a real opportunity for you to move forward in property. I urge you to use it to your benefit. I urge you to really get the learning in and move forward with this. And, I'm going to put this video on YouTube as well. So if you're enjoying these, just subscribe. You just got to press that button, haven't you, that says subscribe. And I will continue to share with you just honest, real information on what we're doing. Simple as, okay? So it's Cam Devady. Keep safe, keep connected, and I'll see you on the next video, okay? See you later.